Yeah, it's the kid. It's the child. It's your main man here, HH, half to the hope, man. Look, I know it's been a while. I know it's taken a bit, but we just had to just get things. Look, basically, I just like too much stuff to do. But we're back with What's Classic. What's
Mm.
Classic is back where we look at some of the quote unquote classic albums, and we basically decide whether said albums that have been by whatever people are actually classics, because whatever we say goes. So we are really the last true voices with regards to whether a rap album is a classic or not. So unfortunately, no country music, man, or no pop music. So Britney Spears fans, I'm sorry, man, this is the wrong stop. So Daniel,
We should
what's up, man?
probably expand. No, I'm good. I'm good. But we should probably expand to like other genres,
Oh, no, yeah, but I mean,
not
I
just
don't
rap. I
look.
mean, like not pop, obviously, but like maybe of the odd rock album or something like that. But it's primarily
Yeah,
rap.
like I don't listen to country music, bro. So I don't know about you, but country music ain't really my thing, man. So
I don't think I've never listened to a whole country album of any artists.
oh yeah, no, yeah, neither have I. Never. Like, I mean, and that's
Yeah.
nothing in knocking, because I think quite a few rap songs were taken from some country classics. So a lot of famous songs were from country songs. Just that country has never really been my thing. So,
Mm.
but look, man, well, before we get to those genres, we're going to deal with rap,
Okay.
and there are a lot of so-called apparent classic rap albums that we can get through before we get to any of the other genres and so forth. So for this week, we decided to roll with Mr. Kendrick Lamar's sophomore album, To Pimp a Butterfly. And so, I mean, where do you even start with this kind of album? I mean, okay, look, maybe I'll start with this.
I got you. When did you first learn of Kendrick? Like, what was your first exposure to Kendrick Lamar?
Oh, that's a very good question, because it was a weird one. So, because I subliminally heard, is it Swimming Pools or something?
Yeah,
From the first album.
from the first
And
album, Good Kid, Mad City.
yeah, and I didn't really like it. I was like, wait, what's this stuff? Blah blah blah. And then I was hearing bits of his music here and there. Okay, this is fine. So I can't remember when I actually fully sat down and listened to it. And let me be real with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether I actually really was a big fan of Kendrick from Good Kid, Mad City. Like, even when I sat down and listened to the albums, but I said, oh wow, this is actually an alright album, but I wasn't really like, oh my, Kendrick is really this guy and everything. I was like, okay, no, this is actually pretty cool. Like, but it seemed to me like just a good rap album, nothing out of the ordinary. So my first exposure to Kendrick was it really Swimming Pools? It might have been that. And this was just where in the background, where it must have been like on TV or was a music video or something. And as I was watching it, I was like, wait, who is this guy? Where is he? Kendrick Lamar. Oh, apparently he's been co-signed by Dr. Dre. He's a new guy. I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But it didn't really make that much of a big impression on me. So what about you?
See, this is maybe my advantage of living in the United States, I suppose. There was a time where so many artists were releasing mixtapes. So you had Drake releases So Far Gone, Kid Cudi, A Kid Named Cudi, Wale was releasing mixtapes, and Kendrick Lamar was kind of another one in that line of artists who were kind of blowing up by releasing their mixtapes. So I remember I was in this. It might have been 2010, which would have been my second year in college. Shout out to my dude David Bennett, somebody from Brooklyn that I went to school with.
Yo, shout out David, man. What's up?
Like, I don't know, we lost communication, but it's the friends you have before like social media really blew up. It's one of those. Like, I wasn't really on Facebook or Twitter back then.
Oh yeah, Toby Ma. If you're out there, man, find me, man.
It's one of those things, man. So anyway, he was like, yo, have you heard Kendrick Lamar? I was like, I don't know who that is. He's like, he's a rapper from the West Coast, because we would always like trade new rappers that we were hearing. So he might shoot me Kendrick Lamar. I might tell him, yo, have you heard the new Mickey Fax record, or Sean Christopher, or Charles Hamilton, or just a bunch of rappers at the time that were like trying to come up in that way. And he gave me this mixtape. He was like, yo, go to X website and download this thing called Overly Dedicated. And that was in 2010. And that was Kendrick Lamar's second project. I think his first one was the Kendrick Lamar EP. And once I heard Overly Dedicated, it had songs like The Heart Part 2. I think Ignorance is Bliss, which is incredible. Michael Jordan, I didn't really care for that one, but I know that one was kind of famous. And there were just a lot of records that like, yo, I like this dude. And then I went back and I listened to the Kendrick Lamar EP, and I really like that project. It has like, Want to Be Heard, and just a bunch of really, really solid records. And so this is before, because I think Kendrick Lamar blows up really with Section 80.
Like
That's his like, oh, so this is going to be a guy that's going to be in hip hop for the next decade or so, or even longer, depending. But that was my first wind, was that mixtape, Overly Dedicated. So I had Kendrick Lamar earmarked that, yo, this guy can create an incredible album. So I put him right along there with J. Cole. Like when I heard the warm up, I was like, okay, this guy might be able to do something special. The same thing when you heard Drake So Far Gone. You're like, okay, this guy has some potential. So let's put him in put him in the iTunes, put him in wherever you store your music, and let's keep tabs on him. So then he releases Section 80, and it kind of blows up. What were some songs off that one? Keisha's song, Ronald Reagan era. I'm just looking at the track listing now. Hold Up. Yo, Hold Up is my shit. So like, yo, like that Section 80 project was really good. And then we get into Good Kid, Mad City, and that, for all intent and purpose, is a classic record to me. So the first time I heard Kendrick, I knew he had the capability of releasing classic albums. What they sounded like, though, I wasn't particularly sure what it would sound like, but I knew he had it in him. And when you heard Good Kid, Mad City, I was like, okay, this is somewhere there. But then we get to Pimp a Butterfly, and I'm like, whoa, okay. Like this is something different. I didn't know he had this in him, but I knew he had something in him. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh no. Oh yeah, no. I think it's like, because you see, for me, I'm one of those guys that I actually don't like listening to mixtapes. For me, I'm one of those guys that I don't like listening to mixtapes. I don't like listening to EPs, although the EP for HER is bloody amazing though. But still,
the Kendrick Lamar EP is essentially a mixtape. So it's not like 5 tracks. It's like a legitimate maybe 12, 13, 14. It was called an EP. I don't know why he called it an EP, but
no, but
it was an actual mixtape. And what you have to think about is, at the time, these rappers like J. Cole, Wale, etc., when he was releasing the album About Nothing and all that kind of stuff, they were releasing in 2008 through 2011, 12. They were releasing album quality projects, just that they needed to release that music in order to blow up on the internet. So when you go back and you listen to Overly Dedicated, it's an album. It would be an album if he came out the natural way. Like if he was discovered by an A&R at 16 years old and, yo, we want to release your debut album, it would have been that. It wouldn't have been Good Kid, Mad City. It would have been one of those mixtapes. The same with J. Cole. And it's why I say J. Cole doesn't have a classic album, but he has classic mixtapes. Yeah. Drake, to me, doesn't have a classic album. He has good albums. But so
he
far,
he does. Okay, maybe this is for a separate thing, because this is still for Kendrick. I will argue with this. Maybe we'll do another Drake out. There is a classic Drake album, but we'll leave that for another discussion. So my thing is just so I could land. There's just so many rappers that have blown up in this era now that released album quality mixtapes. That so when you say I don't like listening to mixtapes. These mixtapes are legitimate projects. Like if you go back and you listen to like Wiz Khalifa, Kush and Orange Juice, that's an album. But he had to release that for free and give it to the public for free. That way people would know his name, essentially.
and Kendrick and so many rappers from that era did the same thing. So it's why you were always on blogs and things like that. So
I think
go back and listen to those old mixtapes if you haven't.
Basically, I will probably listen to those. Basically, I'll listen to those ones you told me, but I try listen to Section 80. And Section 80 is good. Like Section 80 is like, you can tell that this is a very, very skilled rapper. But as a project as a whole, it just didn't feel very concise. You know, I'm listening to like, okay, this guy is talented, but I can't see a direction with regards to what you're trying to say from top to bottom, you know. And that is why
also like my youth is tied to those projects. So like I hold all of
those. So there's a bias, obviously. There's a bias.
There's a slight bias in that, like.
What do you mean by slight bias? There's a bias. Don't say slight. There's a bias.
Well, no, it's like they're good projects. It's not like I'm saying they're good when they aren't good. It's just that when I think about those, I think about, like I was one of the first on this, because I'd like to think I kind of was in some ways, because it's like me, David, my boy Chris, like we would be in the back of like the school bus or the bus that would take us to the university, because we all took public transport, and we'd be in there every day just trading music, like who you got, and like the hour the mixtape came out. I remember like there was some dude in the back of the bus. He was like, "Yo, you ever listen to Amy Winehouse before?" I was like, "Nah." So then like that was the first time I ever listened to Amy Winehouse and things like that. So like we had our own little community, and like whenever things were new, we were on it. So basically, whenever I think of like those old mixtapes, I think it's good times basically. So I'm quite protective of those. But yeah.
No. Oh yeah. So basically, so now, fast forwarding towards to Pimp a Butterfly. So obviously, like really to reach sort of a get there, back to Good Kid, Mad City. Now, once this album came out, because I don't want to talk too much about this album, because maybe we may talk about it within a separate product, but it's good to briefly touch on it because it leads into To Pimp a Butterfly. So just briefly, Good Kid, Mad City, I was like, this is a really good album. This is a really, really good album. And it's like, yeah, this guy, first of all, is extremely skilled. He's telling a great story, because you have albums where it's just songs. And I always make this joke that 99% of rapper albums is you listen to track 3, which is the best track. Track 8 is the Spanish track. Track 16 is featuring everybody. And there's your rap album. So, but with this is like, oh no, like he is telling a concise story and everything is interconnected all the way through from beginning to end. And like that is what you call an album, because it's concise and everything fits together as one. Even though the songs may be different, they still share a synergy and the chemistry within one another. So correct me if I'm wrong, so the first song to come out of To Pimp a Butterfly, the first single was it Blacker the Berry?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or was it I?
I remember I. That was kind of, I'm a bit weird when it comes to albums I anticipate. I never listen to the singles. So I'm just like, I don't want to hear anything that's coming out. Like I used to be one of the dudes that's like, yo, I want to be first on the first record if J. Cole releases a leak. But I think once we got to around like 2014, 2015, and this came out in 2015, I was like, I don't want to hear anything. So, but the first single was I. It was released September 16th, 2014.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I never listened to it until the
me
album.
neither. But no, that is great. See, I didn't listen to it. I think that just sort of just passed me by. So it's not I was avoiding it. It just sort of passed me by.
I avoided it.
Okay. but now this is now key. Now this is now important. You see, for Blacker the Berry, you couldn't ignore it because it was such. Because see, when I came out, it was a good track, but he wasn't really saying anything profound. But the whole thing on Blacker the Berry was like, whoa, he's really come out on his whole pro-black thing. And see, Blacker the Berry was really the song that was giving you a precursor as to what was going to come for the album, more so than I. So once you now heard Blacker the Berry, it was like, oh, damn. Okay, wow, this has taken on a whole different thing with which he is actually trying to now attack this product. So did you not listen to Blacker the Berry? Did you avoid it, or?
I don't remember having a moment with it. I might have heard it like outside.
How did you miss that song, man? It was everywhere.
Again, I'm intentionally trying not to listen to any Kendrick potential singles until the album drops. I'm I'm very particular on that. Like I remember when Watch the Throne dropped, I was one of the first guys like, yo, let me get in on That's My Bitch or those songs. And I was like, you know what? I kind of ruined the album for myself. So I was just like, never again. I think that album came out 2011. I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna rush to like projects I anticipate. So I might have heard it briefly, but then I was like, wait, no, stop. So it might have been one of those things. But yeah, so I had no idea what to expect until I saw the album art, and I was like, ooh, this looks like it could be pretty good. Just a bunch of people on the White House lawn, like a bunch of black people, like, oh, so. Obviously, I didn't. When I heard it was To Pimp a Butterfly, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I had no idea what the hell that meant. I
was like, all right, like Kendrick already had enough credit in my bank to where whatever, To Pimp a Butterfly, it doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna listen. So now I don't remember having a moment of hearing the Black of the Berry. Dude, because I was like, so is it like a Tupac sample? Like, is it a Keep Your Head Up sample? Like, I didn't know what to expect, but yeah. So I don't have that. Yo, the first time I heard Black of the Berry as a single, like I don't have that moment.
Okay, so the album now comes now. So now, before you, it's so weird because like, see, I'm now thinking of me growing up because hey, before you put the CD in, now it's like before you pressed play on your whatever Spotify or wait, before you go in, do you know how sad that is? I don't know how many of you guys who will be listening either live or afterwards, where you, especially of you, basically people who are, let's say, 25 or 24 and an under, do you know what it's meant to go to a Virgin Megastore or an HMV? Buy that album. Yes, it was $6.99. Yes, we're overpriced. Yes, it was
$13.99, bro.
It was theft. But you know what it meant to go into the store, get the album, and it's had the wrapping all over. You'd remove the wrapping, open it up, and also you'd have to be very careful. The amount of CD packets that I broke.
Bro,
CD packets that I broke. So wait. So basically, you would open it. You're like, oh my gosh! And once you put it in, you'd take out the booklets. And you know what I always did with rap stuff? Are you gonna write your damn lyrics in this damn booklet?
Yo, that used to annoy me, man. It's especially when I was able, because when I was maybe like 14, 15, I wasn't allowed to listen to like music I wanted to. I had to listen to like gospel music, Kirk Franklin, Hezekiah Walker, the Clark sisters, just basically like I could have listened like Chris Tomlin and all those kind of guys, but I like to listen to gospel music because it's black. So, but then like 15, I was able to get my own music. So I was more on like the stealing music side of the game. So I was more on like the LimeWire, Bear Share. I'm gonna get this by hook or by crook for free. But on those odd occasions that I had to go buy an album, like 50 Cent, The Massacre was one of the first ones I actually went out and bought. I was bro, this guy better have the lyrics in there. I don't remember if they did or not, though. I don't think they did, but yeah, man, I remember it was because the anyway. No, I'm getting lost.
Yeah. Okay. So before you played the album, what were your expectations? So were your expectations? I'm hoping this is just as good as Good Kid. Or expectations, man, I have no idea what I'm going to listen to. What were your expectations as to what the kind of album you were going to get?
So the album drops at midnight, I think. And what
did I listen to at midnight? Okay, go on.
And what I did is I found a link. Sorry, Kendrick. I downloaded the album and I blacked out everything. It was in the room I'm in right now. I blacked out everything, turned off all the lights. I got like the best headphones I could find, plugged it into my iPhone, and just closed my eyes, and just listened to it. What I was expecting like, I don't know, just by the album art, I was expecting something kind of just black. if that makes sense. I was expecting like kind of the fist up Kendrick, and we got that. But the sound or the sonic, when I first heard Wesley's Theory, and I hear kind of the G-Funk, you see George Clinton, and you're like, okay, Parliament Funkadelic. So this is it's gonna be interesting. But I didn't expect that sonic experience, put it that way. I was expecting something more like along the Dr. Dre kind of sound in that way, in terms of like that more West Coast, the stereotypical West Coast kind of thing, but he didn't give me that. He gave us something different. So
I think BBC similar is like now from Blacker the Berry and the album arts, I knew that okay, this is going to be very pro black. He's going to say a lot of stuff here, and it's going to be very content heavy. So that's I knew that okay, that I'm going to expect that, but I wasn't expecting the way the album was constructed.
Right.
And again, it's obviously something that we will get into, and I think this has been a critique of some people that they say that it's hard to listen to based on how it's constructed.
I have that critique. Like when oh no, go ahead. Because
so I mean, we'll definitely get to that because when we talk about the album, so I did not expect the album to be made the way it was with regards to the intermissions, the story being told, and the story just being chopped into little bits all the way through until we now found out basically the way he had the poem interlaced all the way throughout the album, and also, but as you said, sonically, because I think I was reading an interview where he said there was a lot of real instruments being used, and that's something that is very rare for like a rapper, where a rapper has literally a live band that is playing. So I mean, because there's so many ways we can cut this with regards to, because another big thing that we'll have to talk about is how he completely changed his rap style. Because I was listening to someone, like a YouTuber who said that, oh much, I really like, he listened to Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, was like, oh my gosh, I love him. But when he now listened to Pimp and Butterflies, like, wait, what? He's just changed his style, and then he then lost interest. So people find it hard that he just changes his style. But for me, I find that was really bold. So from even the first song, Wesley's Theory, I was like, okay, this is very different.
Same.
Like this, this just feels different, and this doesn't feel like a regular rap album.
Right.
Like good Kid from the jump is like, okay, rap. All right, this is what it is. But from Wesley's Theory is like, yeah, like because he is mixing talking with rapping with talking with rapping, and it's all over the place, but there's still direction. So it seems like if it's very confused and it's all over, but there is still a direction with where everything is going. So it's like, okay, whoa, okay, this guy is doing a lot of stuff is happening here.
Right.
A lot of stuff is happening here. But okay, because for me, I'm like, artistically push things. And even if you miss, I still appreciate when you now push things artistically. So from Wesley's Theory, I was like, all right, okay, so let's now, okay, I'm in. Now, what are you now going to give me? So.
Yeah. So like as a film guy, because I know you appreciate film, can you relate this in any way to like a movie?
With regards to, you mean the song or the album?
Just the album.
In what sense? As like, is there
like just the way it's constructed? Is there any like link to like a film? Because I say this in particular because when I listen to For Free, and he gives that like spoken word thing, he goes, this dick ain't free.
Oh yeah.
What it reminded me of, when I just listened to it was, have you seen Mo Better Blues?
Is that with Denzel and Wesley?
Denzel, Wesley Snipes. I was gonna say Wesley Theory. Denzel, Wesley Snipes.
Is Don Cheadle in it?
Nah, it's Bill Nunn and Giancarlo Esposito.
That's the one I haven't seen. That's the one I haven't seen. That I still need to see. I have not seen that.
There's a scene where Denzel, he's like giving a spoken word kind of thing about LOVE, love, and it kind of just goes into this whole thing. And it reminded me of that. So I was like, as a film dude, do you feel kind of like a Spike Lee vibe? And I've seen that comparison before, so I don't know if this is an original thought. It isn't, but it's something I felt. Just like, did you get like a Spike Lee kind of
Well, no,
vibe from
no.
this film?
See, for Wesley's Theory, yes, very Spike Lee. With regards to the album as a whole, it's like I think it just exists within itself. Because I mean, like, there's a film called Jacob's Ladder that's very artistically made and it's very much all over the place and it's very visual. So
Mm.
maybe like in an emotional sonic sense, like in a visceral sense, maybe like Jacob's Ladder is the film that I think of it most as. But specifically from Wesley's Theory, yes, because Spike Lee loves to do that with regards to guys giving like soliloquies in front of the camera and everything, and scenes kind of like existing outside of the realm of reality and so forth. But I think, yeah, it's like, but it's funny that you mentioned film though, is that I do feel that he wanted this to feel like a film and maybe like a Spike Lee film, you know, because the way that Spike Lee makes his films are very specific, you know, and he makes his films like compared to like, let's say John Singleton or an Anton Fuqua or so forth, like Spike Lee's films are very poetic, you know, he makes them very poetic and he like there's a like more so than most other black directors I know, like his use of music is very, very key, especially orchestral music. So yeah, so I do think that he was definitely trying to go for a this is very much pro black. I don't want it to be pro black in a very cinematic sense, but
Yeah,
in musical form.
yeah, that's kind of what I was. It was a question in search of a particular answer, if you know what I mean. Because I was like,
but do you know what's weird about this album? Because you know how we normally go from song to song to song, and we can normally do this. The way the album is made, it isn't an album in terms of, okay, let's go to the next song, Like basically, when we did Illmatic and we did
we just went
Reasonable
through
Doubt, it's like, okay, this track. But it's like,
this one's kind of difficult to do that with because
it is.
How do you go from like you and then don't discuss I? So like he makes you go from, I'm looking at the track list. Like if you really want to talk about you, then you have to skip down to 15. So you have to go from 6 to 15. Like you can't really do it chronologically.
And also basically for free, that's like an interlude that's there. And even institutionalized doesn't really feel like a song. It's still a song, but not really a song. You know, so there are songs where like it's sort of like halfway in, halfway out, which is why and it's maybe another thing that we'll get into. This is what I've always said. J. Cole and Kendrick. I feel J. Cole is the better rapper. Kendrick is the better artist.
I think Kendrick has him beat on both fronts. I think like just no, and I'll explain. You know how some people talk about like, I don't like Eminem, but the technical proficiency of his rapping, you can kind of recognize that as being somewhere near elite. When I look at the technical proficiencies of J. Cole and Kendrick, there's no question. Kendrick is more MF Doom, more one of those like super lyrical, miracle kind of guys, right? Now, if you ask me who has a better voice, who do I enjoy listening to more, I'd tell you J. Cole. Like I think J. Cole makes music that I like better. But if we're just talking about the unique ability to put words together and different flows and cadences and even subject matter to a particular extent, I would give it to Kendrick. And Kendrick obviously makes better albums.
Well, maybe I have to just agree to disagree. I just feel like if the lines stick with me a lot more with J. Cole. Like when J. Cole is rapping, especially when he's at the top of his game, I'm like, yeah, I know that bar, I know that line, I can remember that section. For Kendrick, I can't really remember many Kendrick lines or many bars.
He says so much, it's hard to pick out.
Yeah, that's also because like it's so fast, it's so quick, it's so frenetic.
Right.
But it's like he's doing it because he is thinking about the larger picture. And because, going back to what we just said, this album is, the instruments used aren't normal hip-hop instruments. So because they're not normal hip-hop instruments, these are instruments used for soul music, really. And really, black soul music. He is now and which just shows you the bravery of this album is he's now saying that how do I fix my rapping with instruments that aren't built for rapping? Not only instruments that are not built for rapping, instruments that are being played at a pace and at a rhythm that don't coincide with rapping. Hence why the rapping just feels, that's why sometimes it's fast, it's jagged, because he's trying to marry the rapping with these instruments that normally hear with rapping. So, and again, the key thing is that it's not taking anything away from the rapping, just that when I just listen to J. Cole, okay, he's rapping. This guy is just rapping in the most natural sense of the word. But with this album, it's like, it's about the entire project as a whole.
Yeah, it's easier to talk about To Pimp a Butterfly as a whole thing.
Yes.
Rather than to break it down into bits. But
so let me look now. Let me be real with you. King Kunta is my least favorite song. That's my least favorite song.
I'm laughing because I kind of agree.
Because you see, it's not enough to ruin the album, because it's not a crap song, but it's just the weakest song on the album. And I just felt that with this, and do you know what really annoys me? And so many artists and bands do this. Whenever they release a song as a single, and it's one of the worst songs on the album. Like Pheromonch did that with Simon Says. Simon Says is the weakest song on Internal Affairs. But that is his biggest track of all time, which I think is insane. King Kunta for me is the weakest song on this album, for sure.
You see,
I think the song, it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me.
Is that relative to the rest of the album? Like, so let's say one of these like little dudes came out with like a song like King Kunta. Would you say like it's a bad song? I wouldn't say it's a bad song.
No. Not a bad song, but not. It's not a song that stays with me. It's not a song that I will play again many times.
If you look at the track listing and you like, so he has King Kunta, right? And then he follows up with Institutionalized, These Walls, You All Right, Skip the Interlude, Mama, Hood Politics. Like that run of maybe 6 songs is probably, it's a really strong run of songs. So King Kunta is just kind of like, it doesn't hit the same way. That's not to say it's a bad song. It's just, it's not as good relative to, I don't, if you want to call it competition. It's just not, it doesn't hit in the same way as the other ones do. But it's not bad.
Oh no.
It's just not as good as what follows it. So
it's like, it's a song where it's like, when it comes, I'm like, okay, cool. But it's like, as you said, once
basically, I want to skip that and get to Institutionalized.
So basically, once you get to Institutionalized, you're like, okay, we're now back in the groove. Right. And you get to These Walls and it's like, okay, we're now. Do you know? This is the best way to say it. King Kunta doesn't seem to flow with the vibe of the album.
Well, the messaging does.
No. The message, no. See, for me, I always start with sonically before I go to content.
Right.
I always start with, like, for me, that's what I say with music. You can have the best content in the world. Your first port of call is, does it sound good? Does it sound right? Then what's your content? But the most important thing, because remember, at the end of the day, this is still music. It has to be musically right. So for me, King Kunta just doesn't seem to musically flow well with the vibe of the rest of the album.
Well, you see, what happened is when they did that interlude with For Free and they made that like super jazzy, you go into King Kunta and that's not jazz at all.
Yeah.
So it's like
where else?
Jarring almost. It's like,
but where else do you put it though?
This goes to your point that sometimes when you release a single, we got to find a place for it. Yeah. So you might as well put it early in the album so you forget about it by the time you get to like track 12 or whatever. So I think that's maybe part of it. But I know a lot of people really like that record.
Oh, no, they do. No.
It bumps. It
did really well. Like when it came out, it did really well. It did really well.
This is the thing. Like if we're talking about it as an album, maybe it doesn't necessarily fit into the album in a way that we like. But if you just pluck it out and play it as a single, it has a space. You know? So it's one of those things where he has to put it in there and it can't be a bonus track, you know? So
no.
it has to be in there. But I know a lot of people that really like that record, so it is what it is, man.
Well, basically, for me, again, was just sort of going all around the place because again, we don't really need to. Yeah, no, look, we don't have to.
There's no structure, man. There's no structure.
Yeah,
we're rogue, man. We
you
own
see, the one song that I actually have on my playlist is "These Walls." See, "These Walls." I think this is a great track. Great track.
See, that's not in my top 3. I wouldn't say.
Oh wow! No, for me, it's like it's the standout track because again, for me, it's like again, I go to musically, it's just sits very well with me. So sonically, musically, beautiful and everything, and it just flows really well. I just think how he fits in well with the two singers. I think the male and the female singer. I just think it just looks
and
well. Anna Wise or something.
I don't know who the woman is. Let me look. Anna Wise.
Anna Wise, yeah.
But Bilal's, we know him.
Oh, look, come on. That guy's from back in the day, man. Come on, man. So so
you like These Walls?
Oh, I love it.
In terms of like the messaging. Because to me this is like the most female friendly.
But as I said, not the messaging. Musically, you see now, if we now talk about messaging, obviously, we've not gotten to Black the Berry, All Right. Now, there's a track here that is like quality in terms of content and storytelling, but we'll get there. And you may know what it is, but I don't know whether we have the same one. But in terms of storytelling, there is one here that is an easy standard in terms of this is where is Kendrick at his very best in terms of telling a story in 4 minutes. But no. See, this was look. It's for the chicks. Yeah, I get it. But look, it's musically good, man.
It said these sugar walls and cell walls.
What do you mean by sugar walls and cell walls, man?
Well, it's the walls,
Yeah.
But it is, it's funny.
Yeah.
No, I know I like These Walls, but I wouldn't put it in my top 3 records on this album because it's kind of, I don't know, it's not total deviation.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's not a total deviation from what he's trying to say because he does go into like he switches from, I think the first 2 verses are about women, and then he flips it like the baby mama's daddy is in jail, so it's linked in some way to the theme of the album, but I don't know. I just want to put it in top 3, but it's a good song. But there are better records, I think.
So let me just. I'm just going to bring out the songs. Bring out the songs. See now this song here. I think this. Can I tell? Maybe this is probably the most. It's between this and Black the Berry in terms of the most where Black people were like, yeah, this is like our song. We've now taken ownership of the song. All right.
Yo, yeah. Yo, do you remember like people were doing protests?
Yeah,
and like there were
people
on college campuses, and this became kind of like a soundtrack for the struggle anthem. That way,
and I just think that, and that's just like the kind of like concurrent theme.
We gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
but see,
it's a vibe, man. It's a vibe. That's what
again like for Kendrick, and maybe this is going to be a recurring theme as we talk here with regards to Kendrick and his rapping. And his changing of his style. Okay, how can I say this? You see, Kendrick was rapping on Good Kid. This guy was okay. This guy is rapping. Like what the hell? This guy is rapping. In this, it was okay. We're now seeing an artist. You see, Good Kid, Mad City was a rapper. We're now seeing an artist. And you just have to accept that. Yeah, he is technically, by definition, a rapper, but he's now flexing his artistic skills a lot more rather than, let me just bar you up on Good Kid, Mad City. So on All Right, the rapping isn't very like cohesive or pleasurable to listen to, but it works. I don't know whether you understand where I'm getting at from here.
I feel like I need you to say another paragraph, and maybe I might understand what you mean.
So basically, it's like he raps very fast,
Yep.
very quick,
Mhm.
lots of words, but he needs to do so because, again, as I said again, the instruments being used, the beats and everything is not what you normally expect for a rap record, but he has to make it work. So so if you take the rapping in a vacuum, it's like it doesn't sound as pleasurable as, let's say, what a J. Cole or a Nas or thing will do. But mixed with the song, it works. So as I'm listening to it, I cannot tell you a single line from this song. I can't tell you a single bar, or I can't tell you. But if I listen to it from beginning to end, it just works as a whole.
So you're saying to match the instrumentation, he has to become an instrument that you can
Yes.
almost that you can almost kind of put in the bed of the song, but you don't
100%.
necessarily have to pick out the
100%.
words. Okay.
100%. Basically, he's like, everything is interconnected.
Mhm.
It's interconnected. So it's like it works as one. If you take the rapping and what, it doesn't work. So he's like, no, this music is like this. I just have to make it work like that.
There's a moment where, like in All Right, where the beat stops, and then he stops, and then the song starts, and he starts again. There's like a quick pause where like they hit the snare. There's like yeah. So I can see what you're saying. I guess we can save you for I.
Oh yeah.
But I really like you, but we'll get there later.
Now, actually, For Sale, is that where he talks about the devil? Lucy.
Yes.
Lucy, yeah. Now this was again. Is this a song? Is this not a song, but
it's an interlude.
Yeah, the instrumentation here and what he says are just, again, quality. And again, this just, see, by the time you get to this track, you're like, okay, this you listen to a very different album. You listen to a very different album that is now sort of taking things to a greater level with regards to what to expect a rap album should be.
Right.
Which is why when we now get to the fact of like, okay, it's hard to listen to, it's all over the place, I'm like, I have to give him so much kudos because this is because let's just be real now.
Yep.
For like Good Kid, Mad City was like, boom, amazing. To do this for your sophomore album is very brave because this could have
flopped, completely
missed. Yeah, let's be real. This could have just been like, it's a mess. It's all over the place. It's trying to be too much. It's not cohesive.
It's so easy when you're trying to kick knowledge to come off corny.
Oh, easy.
And this doesn't come off corny. It comes off like you feel, I don't want to say anger, but just like the frustration of what society is like, or American society in particular. Like it feels authentic, I think, because it is. And so he's not just saying stuff to say stuff, you know?
And you see, and this is why Kendrick is so special, is that he looks at the entire picture. Which is why it's like we will be doing a detriment just critiquing song by song by song by song, because by the time I got to the end of this album and listened to it again and again and again, I say, no. Like, you see, yeah, I love All Right. I love Hood Politics. I love How Much a Dollar Costs. I love Black of the Berry. But whenever I listen to the album, I never listen to those songs individually. I always listen to the entire album. Similar to how I like Beats, Rhymes, and Life. I never listen to individual songs. I always listen to the entire album.
That's a great point.
So it's like
go. Okay. You know how we kind of talked about how people picked out Kunta Kinte and they listened to it as a single, or King Kunta rather. Sorry, they pick out King Kunta. They pick out King Kunta and it's just like, yo, this is a really good track, and they put it in their playlists, and that lives in their playlist forever, right? I'm not a playlist person. I'm an album guy. So whenever I listen to something, I pick like, okay, we're going to listen to Amy Winehouse Back to Black. I'm going to click song 1 and we're going to listen to this all the way through. I don't have playlists in that way. So this is the, I don't know if it's an issue with this album, but it's the inherent flaw for me, is that it's so dense, this album, and there's so much to get through that it almost feels like a chore to listen song 1 through 16, because you're going into Kendrick's mind and you're taking the weight of what all the things he's trying to say. And it's like, I don't feel like feeling like this. Like, it's objectively great. Like, it's a classic album. I think when we say what's classic, I think we're both going to put this at 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 when we get to it. But the fact of the matter is it an enjoyable listen? And in some ways, yes, if that's what you're looking for. But if you're just looking for just an enjoyable time,
you've just been called an album merchant, by the way. So
fair enough, Josh. Yeah, but if you're going to an album for just enjoyment and to get away, and like, you wouldn't put this on as background music. Like, this isn't a Michael Jackson Off the Wall. Like, we just put this in the background, it'll make you feel good while you do your sweeping.
No.
Whatever. Like, this is something you listen to if you're in a mood for it.
There we go. You see, you have to be in the right mind frame to listen to this album.
Right.
You have to be in the right mind frame to listen to this album. Like Illmatic, you just throw it on. Beats from the Life, you just throw it on.
You know how many times I've
die, you just throw it on.
Illmatic is 40 minutes. If I need to kill 40 minutes, like if I was waiting for class or something, just like, play Illmatic. The Jungle, New York State of Mind. We just get through it. It just helps you waste this.
Again, obviously, I know that you're obviously not like big into rock, but for me, like Meteora was Linkin Park's second album. That album, I think, is 30 minutes. That album is short, but you could just put it on, boom, because first of all, it's short, and also each song bleeds into the next song. So there isn't any intermission. So each song connects fully to the next song. Right. So you just like listen to like just one full track for like half an hour. It's like one of the shortest albums ever. But my thing about this is that, again, it's goes to what I said about art. Why should there be one way in which you make an album? You're just making art, and even by the time, and even like after years, I've said, look, man, I'm more likely going to listen to Good Kid, Mad City. When we get to this, Damn is a damn good album. That was a damn good album. Like, but it's like, basically, Damn and Good Kid. Oh my gosh, back to front. But for Pimp Butterfly, no, I just said, okay, I can't do that with this. But now, let me ask you this then, because I know what my answer is. If you can't listen to an album very easily back to front, does that take away from the album's quality, or do you take points away from that album? Is it a necessity with regards to giving points to the album?
No.
With regards to how easily you can listen to it from top to bottom?
No, because let's say a film like Schindler's List is not easy to watch. Is it good? Is it great? Is it classic? Most people would say yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
So it's things. Just because something isn't easy doesn't mean it isn't good. I don't know. So if things aren't enjoyable to get through, that doesn't necessarily take away from the artistic quality of it.
No. I mean, basically, it's like,
and just because something is easy to get through doesn't mean it's good. So Titanic is what, the most watched film ever, or something like that. So many people watch it. It's watched like 10,000 billion times. Is it a good film? No. But it's kind of that same difference of like, sometimes good things you have to put work in. It's just like, do you want to put that work in to enjoy this album, or just to sit through it? It's like someone in the comments says it's too in. Like I said, that's why it's a classic. It's influential. I thought he said it's too intellectual. I was about to say, like, some people won't want to put the brain power into like sitting through it and kind of breaking it down and going through all the different elements of what he's talking about. And if you don't feel like doing that, I can't fault you for it, because it's not an easy thing to do. But that doesn't take away from the artistic quality and the fact that you can squeeze so much information into an hour and 30 minutes that people even 15 years from now, you'll always be able to write something new about this album because you'll hear something new every time you listen to it. And that's the kind of the beauty I think about hip hop in a way. It's the most lyrical. You can squeeze the most amount of words into something. You can not.
No.
You could be like a
poetry.
Future. Yeah, I mean, you have your Futures and your Young Thugs and all those people that they might say 16 bars in a 60-minute album, but if you want to, you can squeeze as much words and as much content and as much knowledge in air quotes as you want. And Kendrick, I think he leaned a little bit into like the wordy gospel preacherness, but it doesn't necessarily feel like, I'm going to church with Kendrick,
So let's go back to the album. So what track or tracks jumped out at you?
So my favorite tracks.
Okay. Do you have a favorite track or
I
tracks? Is there one track where like this is my track? So basically, do you want to say your favorite track, or you want to just build up before you get to your favorite track?
Oh, no, my favorite track is the next one that we talked about, the For Sale interlude. Mama's my favorite track. And it's just the vibe. Like the beat, the drums, the flows. It's just
Wait. How does that go again?
When it's like that's sloppy. And there's just like I don't know, how would you describe it? There's a dude talking in the background. It's like somebody's banging on pots and pans. It's like this feeling is unmatched. Something.
Oh yeah,
like feeling a good rap.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah.
It's a I don't know. It makes me feel good. So,
but wouldn't you say that is a similar vibe to what you get from These Walls in terms of maybe Mama is more chilled, more like serene, but wouldn't you say it's the same kind of musical feel as These Walls?
I didn't say These Walls was bad. I just said I'm surprised you like it in that way. Oh, because it leans kind of into that kind of sexualization, but you're just talking about the vibe. You're not talking about the lyrics.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, that's the vibes. Well, no, that's interesting because I wouldn't have thought that Mama would be your favorite track. Interesting.
I think it's dope, and the just artistically, the second half of You, where he's like drinking.
Oh yeah,
and he starts like you hear him take the sip.
Yeah.
Just like that artistic whole thing. I thought that was really, really dope.
No, but again, like you see, again, maybe you can tell me, or maybe I'm missing something. Again, I've never really seen a rapper do that in that second half of You, where it's like, okay, now you're really bringing in that kind of performance.
Yeah, it's like
into an album.
Yeah.
Because most rappers are just it's an intermission where I shot like that or something like. But this is like where it's like, okay, no, this is you're making this very cinematic and very fun. And basically he's taken up a character.
This is why I asked you at the beginning,
like
you feel like this is why I asked at the beginning, like, do you feel a cinematic element to it? Because it's a performance, like you say, like we're not just listening to Kendrick Lamar just rap. We're listening to him like offer something more than just being a rapper in a way.
Which is why, like, again, let's go back to the point that we said of like, oh, man, I can't listen to this freaking album, man. Is that this isn't a regular rap album.
No, man.
It's a piece of art.
You can't do homework with this in the background or anything like that, bro.
No. So which is why, like, you have to just say this guy is a genius. Like, see, that word is branded around a lot.
Yeah.
And I hate because again, for me, I don't think, maybe you do, but I don't think Kanye is a genius. I think Kanye is an extremely talented producer. Very talented. He's not a genius. I think Kendrick is a genius because when I look at this project, this has come from a brainchild of a guy. Obviously, the musicians, what's it called? His producers and so forth and everything, but it's been engineered by a guy. And again, look, but before this, how many rap albums have existed? Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. There's never been a rap album like this. There's not been a rap album even close to like this.
I haven't listened to every rap album, so I won't go on a limb. I will let you take that kind of like definitive stance, because I'm sure someone would be like,
hey, bro, like put this out there to name a rap album that's like that, then I'll hold my hands up. Then okay, let me go out on a limb and look like a fool. Then so I'll happily do that.
I think this is the weird thing, and this is like a Kanye debate that we can have at a later date when we do a Kanye album. But genius comes in different forms. So is Kanye's genius, because he's the example you used, the same as Kendrick's? No. But I do think Kanye has a genius of his own. Whether or not you like it or not, that's a different question. And whether or not he's lost it, I can say in some ways, I think he has. But I don't think genius isn't one thing. It comes in different forms. But I was looking at the lyrics of Mama, and I know everything. I know everything. Know myself. I know mortality, spiritually, good and bad health. I know fatality might haunt you. I know everything. I know Compton. I know street shit. I know shit that's conscious. I know everything. I know lawyers, advertisements, and sponsors. I know wisdom. I know bad religion. I know good karma. I know everything. I know history. I know the universe works mentally. I know the perks of bullshit isn't meant for me. I know everything. I know cars, clothes, hoes, and money. I know loyalty. I know respect. I know those that, like, just that whole flow. I wasn't even going to try to pretend to be Kendrick, but that whole verse is incredible. Just like the lyrical quality and just the dopeness of it.
He's saying a lot of stuff that makes you think. And it's no, because for me, my thing is like, and the beauty about this was we had a hint of this from Good Kid, but he just took things to the next level.
This is what I was telling you at the beginning when I asked like, when did you first listen to Kendrick, and then you asked me, like, I knew he had something in him that was great, just the same way I know J. Cole does. But Kendrick has actually proven it to me that the faith was
J. Cole never will until he can get with the DJ Premier. That's my thing. No, I know we're very about J. Cole. If you're listening, which I'm sure you have,
the J. Cole and Kendrick album.
Pick up DJ Premier's phone, call him and tell DJ Premier, please produce an album for me. If you do, you will have a classic guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Yo, like that. What's the track that J. Cole did on the new Gangstar album? Diamonds and something?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Oh man, like
Loyalty and Friends.
It's actually on my it's
Diamonds and Loyalty. Something.
It's on my Tidal. Wait, keep talking.
Yeah, I'll let Hafo find that track. But if J. Cole could get without a producer that could give him that sound, whether it be Premier or Pete Rock or whomever, because J. Cole's whole production has been trying to bite East Coast production.
I think it's family and loyalty. Is it family and loyalty? Yeah, family and loyalty.
That sounds right. I don't know why I was thinking diamonds. Sorry. But J. Cole's whole production style has been like kind of New York, East Coast kind of rap. I think he's veered a little bit in the last few years, but just J. Cole isn't a good enough producer to produce his own album. And this has always been the problem. He's not even Big Crit. Big Crit is a far better producer than J. Cole. So I'm cool with Crit producing his own album. Like the last album that there was not the last one, but the one before last, there was a double album. Some of the best projects of that year. I think it was 2018. Cole doesn't have that. And Kendrick, to his credit, I think it's not just, how people get on Nas for like beat picking and things like that. Do you think Kendrick is the one that's orchestrating the sound?
No.
Or do you think it's like he has an executive producer, whether it be?
No, he does. He does. No. Like, and that is the key thing. Like, wait, I forgot what the name of his producer
Soundwave?
is. Soundwave. Like, I think Soundwave is really the musical. Basically, I think they work in tandem.
So it's like 40 and Drake.
Yeah. It's like, you see, you have to be wise. And J. Cole could learn a lot from Kendrick, because I think know what your talents are. Know what your talents are. Kendrick knows that, no, I'm not a producer. Let me focus fully on this whole rapping thing. Now, I have an idea of what I want musically and what I want my products to be, but Soundwave, This is what I want. You
Make
go
it.
out there and just do it. Let me now focus on just the rapping and just orchestrating this project. For J. Cole, you are an amazing rapper, superb rapper. You're not a good producer. You're just not. Like, producing is a skill. Okay, producing is a skill. Like, J. Cole, you will never be a quarter of the producer that DJ Premier is. Get DJ Premier to produce your thing and just focus on the rapping, and you'll have a classic. Like for J. Cole, I don't think he'll ever realize this, that you will never, ever, ever, ever have a classic if you produce and you rap. It's never gonna happen. Because trust me, now I know I am a full-on amateur rap and everything, but just from experience. Hey, look, I was 15 years old, man. Come on, look, I was 15, 16 years old. So
I've heard the records. I've heard the records.
So as a 15, 16-year-old, your brain having to worry about the beats and where the beats are and the rapping, your brain has to work in two ways, because the way your brain works with regards to orchestrating the beats and then writing it down, it's different. So trust me, it would benefit J. Cole so much where your brain doesn't even have to think about the organization and the complexity of creating a beat. Because see, do you know what the key thing is? When you listen to J. Cole's beats, it's they're very samey.
Because he is who he is.
Yeah, because so they're very repetitive, and it's like, because
that's why I brought up Crit, because Crit understood this and he went out and got other help, and I think his art has improved. J. Cole, we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, no, go so supposed to be back on Drake, back on Kendrick.
No. This is quick. When is this Kendrick Cole album coming out? They've been teasing it since like 2010, 2011.
Bro,
where y'all at? Come on, man.
On Kendrick and Cole, very briefly. So remember that song? You know that song that they did with Jeezy, American Dream.
I don't know if I've heard that.
Oh man,
I probably have heard it, but
so basically, it was Jeezy, J. Cole, and Kendrick, and in my view, that was J. Cole probably put down the best verse of the year. Amazing. And Kendrick opted to sing, not rap. So I was like,
the one thing I remember is when they did Black Friday, where they swapped like each other's beats. Oh, yeah. So Kendrick spit over a Cole beat and Cole spit over a Kendrick song. I thought that was interesting, but yeah, I need that album.
Yeah, no, but my thing though is that, yeah, like, I mean, a Kendrick, basically, they're the two best rappers now, and a Kendrick J. Cole album,
they're the two best mainstream rappers. I don't know if they're the two best rappers, but yeah, that's a different conversation for another day.
Okay, different conversation for another day. But whatever it is, an album by them would be massive. It would completely be.
It would be like Watch the Throne.
Yeah,
where like Kanye and Hove link up. Okay,
but Daniel, let's be real. Let's be real. Kanye West is an average rapper.
Yes, but he's pretty good at making beats.
But
no. If we got Kendrick Cole and Cole was the one making the beats, you think Kendrick could actually improve it, or would it have to be like, an executive?
No. Oh my God. Okay. Look. Last thing. Okay. Look. Before we get back to Kendrick, do you know what would destroy the entire industry? Destroy Kendrick, J. Cole, DJ Premier. Finished, game done. That would be the album of the decade.
Give me Kendrick
Cole right now.
Give me Kendrick Cole over Neptune's beats rather than
no. Oh no. Nah.
Give me a whole album of All Rights, and I'll be happy.
No. DJ Premier, boom.
I don't need them sounding like Gangstar, man. You're stuck in the 90s, bro. Stuck in the 90s.
Man, you're underrating DJ Premier. You're underrating DJ Premier. You're underrating the dude like DJ Premier.
I'm just saying what I'd rather hear. But anyway, let's.
Okay, so
complete diversion.
So basically, hood politics. Is this what he says? Republic Bloods and no Democrats and Republicans.
I think so. Yes.
Yep. That was a pretty good line because I think he sort of mentioned something that Killer Mike says. I can't remember the line fully, but this was no. I mean, this was not him getting in his political bag, getting in his political bag, and you see, this section is where, and this just shows you a strong album. You see, many albums, maybe it's many rap albums, but a lot of albums, when you get to the
Woo! No. Someone said Kendrick Cole Ninth Wonder. No, that's what I'm talking about. But go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. I just had that gutter reaction to seeing Ninth. Like, yeah, that would work.
Wait. Who does Ninth Wonder produce for mainly?
You would know him from producing. Oh well, Rhapsody #1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you'd probably know him from Little Brother if you went back and listened to like the Fonte Big Pooh records. But yeah, man. It's especially because Cole and Ninth are from North Carolina, so I would like that personally. But go ahead.
So basically, what was I about to say? So I think in a lot of albums, whenever you get to the final third of an album, it just sort of like depreciates and just sort of like just goes crap. But this is one album where like it just keeps getting strong and strong and strong and strong. And I mean, before we go to another song that I think is one of the best on this, what's your view on Hood Politics?
Hood Politics helped me understand the album art a lot more.
Okay.
Although there was kind of elements of that, I think, in King Kunta, if I'm not mistaken. But I was just like, oh, okay, so I understand where that's coming from. But yeah, when he was like Democrats and Republicans or something like that.
Republicans.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I get it. But yeah, as for like how it sounds though, you see, it follows one of my favorites. So it's kind of that bias in my head where it's like, oh, this doesn't sound as good, but that's because it's following one of my favorite tracks from the record. So, but yeah, it's good. It's good.
Now, this is one of my favorite tracks of this whole thing, man. See, Where These Walls was my musical thing. Shout out to the ladies. This was about content and storytelling. How much a dollar cost? Just really good. How he sets up the story, breaks down this story. Is this the Isley Brothers?
By the track listing, there's Ronald Isley and James Fauntleroy.
Okay. Well, one of the Isley Brothers then.
Really good.
The musical composition of everything, the construction of the song, how it's just the trajectory of the song. I just think it's just really, really, really good. So this just has everything: musically good, sonically good, great content, quality storytelling.
Yeah. Were you kind of shocked about the story? Like when you saw like how much does $1 cost? Were you wondering like where is this going? And then he's like, yo, Jesus, God was a homeless dude. He didn't give him $1. Now he can't get into heaven. Like,
yeah, I mean, I wasn't sort of shocked, but sort of like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
That's an interesting see, like that. Knowing you for the past few years now, that doesn't surprise me. That's your fit because it just of the story quality of it. It's like kind of a movie thing. It's as Kendrick rap, he paints the picture. So
now, this was my introduction to Rhapsody.
Okay.
I'd never really heard of her before or anything. So what do you say?
That's a good introduction.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, so obviously once Kenny did his rap, I was like, okay. But then when she again came, I was like, oh, okay.
Did you know that Rhapsody was a woman on the track listing? Were you expecting to hear a man?
You see, I don't look at it. No, I don't look at track listing. You just play.
Listen.
Yeah, I just play. So what struck me, because see, what I like about rap, and especially when I hear about a new rapper, is if you sound different and the way in which you attack a rap song and everything is different. So what I liked about rap is, it's very, it's disjointed, but disjointed in the best way. So I was like, okay, no, this is a very good, nice. This is a nice, refreshing rap style
Yeah.
that she's coming with. And also keep in mind, we now on track 12. I believe that the only other person who has featured is Snoop Dogg.
With
If
a
I'm right,
verse, yes, yeah.
with a verse.
Well, see, this is the thing. There were two rap features, Rhapsody and Snoop. Snoop you have because you're paying West Coast homage, I suppose.
Yeah.
Rhapsody's there just because you want a female perspective, I suppose. But again, this happens. You know, when people release their debut albums, and it's like, I released my debut album with no features
Mm.
because it's your first album and you have something to say. Really, Kendrick has so much to say to get off his chest, out of his brain, that there's not enough space to have 9 features of Future, Drake, Jay-Z. Like Kendrick could if he wants, but I've got so much to say. If the feature isn't right, I don't want it. So I like albums with minimal features.
Oh, you
Like,
don't know.
I
Yeah,
hate when I
me too.
like 12 tracks and there's like 10 different songs that have a feature. Like, come on, man.
No,
Like,
it's no, like whenever I look at a track listing and I look at it, I'm like, man, I can see 4 guys there, 5 guys there, 3 guys. I was like, oh man, well, I mean, what the hell is this?
but you know what's also very good is that with the Rhapsody feature, she features on a beat that she would have on her album. It's not like she's out of her depth. She's not on one of those crazy like G-funk vibes or anything. Like that's a beat that Ninth Wonder would produce for her. So she's in her pocket and it allows her to shine how she does, like on her own projects.
So see, my only criticism, I didn't like the line of like Idris Elba being James Bond. or rather like a black James Bond. I was like, oh. See, that was the only one where I'm like, everything was perfect. But like, oh no. Yeah. So now, obviously, I think we saw how sort of talked about this, but yeah, Blacker the Berry, man. Yeah, this was highly charged. I mean, okay, so yeah, your thoughts on this track, on this song, Blacker the Berry.
Well, see, now I was anticipating this one because as you like, I might have heard the first 5 seconds and I was like, no, I'm not going to listen to it. And then when I heard it, like for the first time, I was like, so no, there's no Keep Your Head Up sample. So I was like, okay, so what is this? But you know, then he's like, I'm black, I'm African American, I'm African, I'm this, I'm that. I was like, oh, let's get it. Like, cause he's jumping right into like his pro-black back. So I'm like, okay. I fuck with this. And like I don't even particularly like the beat, but the messaging and everything that he says in the record, I really like it. So
I mean, it's like I think that's very much about content. I mean, the beat is just effective, but it's very much about content.
Yeah, that beat is there just for him to spaz.
Yeah. Now
it's not too much. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So wait, were you finished?
I'm done.
I love this track.
Which track?
Really love this track. You Ain't Gonna Lie.
This is my least favorite record.
Ain't gonna lie to give me a chance. Ain't gonna try so hard. Really good track.
I think this is my least favorite record on the album.
Oh my god! What? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. This is there's like a whiny voice in it. You ain't gonna try so hard, like all that kind of.
Oh, bro, I love this track. Really good. Yeah, again for me, similar to pretty much the same as These Walls. Just musically, just sounds great.
You really like the vibes on this album, so like These Walls, You Ain't Gotta Lie.
The vibes are strong. The vibes are strong with this one. Now you see. I said King Kunta is my least favorite.
I is your least favorite?
I might be my second least favorite on this.
You know what? If he would have released the studio version, do you think that would have helped? Because I actually think, once I went back and I listened to the studio version, I like the idea that he did the live performance.
Okay.
Because the live performance allowed him to have the Why
Oh yeah,
y'all
the bit
fighting?
at the end. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that's real, if it was a skit or what it was, but
Oh, come on, it's
I like.
skits, man. It's a skits. Come on, man. It's a
I'm just
skit. How
saying it
could
could
it?
have been real.
Yeah, no, it's a skit. It's a skit. It
They
has
made
to
it
be.
sound like it could have been real.
Yeah.
But then when he went
Yeah.
Negus. Like, oh no, did you know about Negus before you listened to the album?
Nope. Nope. So that was all new to me. I was like, oh, what? Okay, all right. Wow.
I remember like if you do any research into the N word, like, and you're on kind of some pro black shit, like you'll find Negus from like Ethiopia or East Africa is like one of those words that means king. So yeah, I was like, oh, Kendrick's gonna have a whole bunch of people talking about I'm a Negus. I remember like, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people claiming Negus now. But yeah.
So Mortal Man is
Now
pretty
we
much
get the
like,
culmination of that
yep.
poem that's been cutting in and out of the album the whole time.
Also, no, Buckley, see, now I love that idea of there's a poem that is slowly being finished as the album is going through.
This is again why I asked you about the film correlation. Like, could you think of any film that does that? Or is
No.
this a total music thing? Like, I'm thinking like a movie that might, like, they show you a scene or a piece of it, and then they go back and they show you even more of it. Like, is there no movie that does that? Or is this like a totally original idea that he had?
Oh, no. I'm sure there's just, I can't think of it, but I'm sure there's a movie that has done that. Yes, I don't know whether did Memento do it? No, really, but there's definitely been a film that has done that. I just can't remember. Like some of these very psychological, trippy films.
Yeah.
No, it's actually crazy that you say that. When he was doing it, it did make me think of a film, but I can't remember what it was. As doing as possible. Oh yeah, this is that. Yeah, so I remember a film that does something like this. But yeah.
It's probably made by Kurosawa.
Probably yeah. Okay, so yeah, so basically this is the culmination. This is everything, and I think this is him talking to Tupac, and really, and honestly, I think the title of the track is very important as well. Mortal Man. So, in your sense, what is he really what is really the theme of this? Or are we dealing with many things? Because on one hand, is this about pro-black, or is this about the deconstruction of Kendrick, being introspective, looking inside, and dealing with fame and popularity, and maybe dealing with the facts of like, oh my gosh, I am this, or I am either this, or I want to be this cultural social leader for my people, and I need to look at one of my idols who could have been this, or rather was this, i.e. a Tupac.
Okay. Now this is, you know the famous Pac quote, where he's like, I'm not going to change the world, but I'm going to inspire, or I'm going to spark the mind of the person who does change the world. Like, that's like a famous Pac quote. And Kendrick, from everything I've heard and listened to, like, he dreams that he met Tupac once. And if you listen to, I think it's a track called High Power. He says something about, he uses Tupac's original name. If I could, let me look this up. Tupac Shakur, because that's not his birth name. His birth name was LaShawn Parrish Crooks. And I remember Kendrick referencing that, and I looked it up. I was like, who is LaShawn Parrish Crooks? And that's Tupac's birth name, essentially. Like, I guess his mother changed his name. And so Kendrick has always thought that he is that spark, or that person who Pac is going to change the world through, in a sense. So when he starts talking about, like, I'm forgetting the lyrics offhand, but he talks about, JFK, Mandela, Detroit Red, aka Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, etc., etc. He goes to like all the leaders and stuff. I think he's trying to, like, as you say, maybe wrestle in his mind, like, am I able to do this? Especially thinking like all of those people who would have been killed or imprisoned, if you're Mandela, who, they try to go down these paths, but at the end of the day, you're a mortal man. Like, you can die, by doing the right thing. And I think that's where he's going. Just because, like, is it worth it to be the person who changes the world if you're going to die? Like, is your life worth it? I think that's where he's going.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but it's like I'm trying to think that's whether that was the point he wanted to put across in this album, or he wanted to make. I mean, what points do you think he wanted to make when, if by ending it with this song? Does he want people to live with that message, or with the message of pro-black, pro-black, pro-black?
I think this song, in a sense, is rationalizing his decision to make an album like he just made.
Okay.
So let's say do you start? I don't know if he starts with this record or if this is the record you finish with. But suppose like you make this whole pro-black record, and then you have a moment to think, like, bro, if I release this and it has the intended effect, and people are going to be looking at me like some pro-black, change the world kind of figure, like, what does that mean for me? And then you start writing whatever bars about Mandela in prison, or Pac, or Malcolm, Martin, JFK, all the people that have kind of died in the 60s and stuff like that. So maybe that's what this is happening. Maybe that it's a more personal record, like just his own coming to grips with what he's just done in terms of making the whole project.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely made sense to end it with this, based on. I mean, what? I mean, look, it's the entire thing is 12 minutes. 12 minutes 7 seconds long. you know,
it's long. It's long.
It's long. So
the interview's long as well. So
yeah. So, but again, it's like this is a different kind of album. Again, normally, as I said again, track 16 is featuring everybody from the neighborhood. That's the regular rap thing to do. Track 16 is where everyone is featured and we're having a full. Or 16 is the remix of track 3, which is the single. But I think it's made sense to end with this big, and it fits very well with the theme of what this is about. That it's a commentary. It's a commentary, and I think that it's it's Kendrick looking really inward into himself, but also outward as well. You see, Good Kid, Mad City was, this is my life. This is about me. So Good Kid was fully introspective. This is really me. This is a mixture of being introspective, but also, all right, we've already dealt with what I'm about in Good Kid, Mad City. Now I'm ready to now go out into the world and try and be something.
Yes, that was a point that was in my head. It was like Good Kid, Mad City is a look at his world. And then To Pimp a Butterfly is a look at the world in general.
Yeah.
So he gave you my block. Now I'm going to give you my country in a way.
So basically, who. So basically, Good Kid, Mad City this is where I grew up. But in Good Kid, Mad City, we knew nothing about what his views were about anything. It's just a story, like a biography. But what are your political views? What are your thoughts about this? No, this is just me. Now, To Be a Butterfly is, now you know who I am. This is now what I think about the world. This is now my views about the world. This is how I'm now reacting to things within the world. This is now the different things that I'm saying within the world. And now that I'm saying all of these things, what can I do to affect change? Hence why you have the interview with Tupac, where you were that guy. Because again, so let's talk a little bit about Tupac. He was going to be that guy. Like, I believe that Tupac would have gone into acting. He would have been a very successful actor and would have gone back into rap. And rap would have been very, very different if Tupac was still alive. It would have been very, very different. Because I believe that if he had just sort of calmed down a bit, he would have grown older, become a lot more mature, and made much more political, introspective, important, socially conscious records, and rap would have been a very different genre. And the kind of change he would have, because basically he would have been like the modern day social leader, 100%. Because once rap just became something different. But if Tupac was alive and he grew older, the kid and he matured, because the issue with Tupac was he had split personality syndrome. He just had a crazy split personality syndrome. But I think if he just knew his importance in the world, and I think he would have understood, and he made more films that were obviously a lot more effective, and he was like, wait a minute, wow, forget all this gangster stuff, I can really affect some change. Rap would have been different, and he would have affected, and especially coming into 96, 97, 98 with Mos Def coming, Talib Kweli coming, and Common coming, very much coming, rap would have been a very, very different genre.
So I looked this up, and this article is from Hip Hop DX from July 2011. So 4 years before this record. And it's a quick read, so I'll read it. It says, in the beginning of the video High Power, Kendrick Lamar shows a message that explains he got a visit from LaShawn Parrish Crooks, the birth name of Tupac. Speaking with Homegrown Radio, the West Coast spitter explained that he saw a vision of the fallen rapper in his sleep, and it encouraged him to carry on his name. And then this is a quote from Kendrick. He says, it's a crazy story, actually. It's a crazy true story, actually. You know, one of them things where you really delirious in your sleep. It's a real situation where I was sleeping one night and a silhouette came and he said, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let my music die. He said, the shit scared the shit out of me. Just off the fact that prior to that, a day before, my mom bringing up, you and Tupac. It's written like exactly how he said it. Y'all like days apart, y'all birthdays. I never knew that shit. That's some wild shit. Once she said that shit, and I'm really big on shit like that, somebody comes in your dreams and relays a message, you got to listen to it, because I've got past family relatives that's been coming to my dreams forever and talking to me. So yeah, like he has experiences with like seeing Pac. So it doesn't surprise me that I remember when I was listening to it like on the couch, and I was like, it's like he's talking to Tupac. I'm like, how? What? Like the idea that you're just gonna like talk to Pac in your record, like you're just gonna cut the voice of the what's it called, the interviewer, and you're gonna become the interviewer and kind of ask the questions that you want to ask with the answers that you get. Like, some people are like, yo, how did Kendrick get in an interview with Tupac? Ain't he dead? And like, yo, where did he find Tupac? I'm like, calm down, guys. Like he clearly does some tricks here. Because like it's one of those things where like the album comes out probably midnight. So then by like 1:32, if you're still awake, everybody's finished the album that decided to listen to it at the same time. So it's like, yo, how did he get Tupac, man? Like, what happened? Like, I thought Tupac dead. Like, he found him in Cuba. Like, what's going on?
Wow, people are wild, man.
Yeah, man. So,
all right. So let's sort of just round this off, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's grade it, man.
Okay. I have an idea. So if you had to take, if we want to make a playlist, let's say you have to take your top 3 tracks, and this is what people should put in their playlist. So what 3 songs are you telling people to put from this album in their like playlists?
Oh, easy. These Walls, How Much a Dollar Costs, You Ain't Gotta Lie.
Okay. And I'm telling you in your playlist, put You, put All Right, and put Mama.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So those are my 3. Yeah, you know what? Somebody put like T2PAB or 2PAC to Pimp a Caterpillar.
A caterpillar.
Okay, so if you a butterfly starts out as a caterpillar, and this is a really good reminder. So if you look at the first letters of everything, it's like TPA, right? So 2 would be the number 2, and then PAB but a caterpillar starts out as, or a butterfly starts out as a caterpillar. So if you change butterfly to caterpillar, you have Tupac from the title. So that's why he called it, and that's a good reminder, Muhammad, that's why he called it To Pimp a Butterfly. Because basically,
okay.
He's the butterfly from Pac's. No, from
Oh
Pac's
wow. Like my mind is just blown. Wow, Muhammad, man. Like I was about to say, because I thought he was like trolling. I was like, wait, what are you on about? Are you like trolling or something?
I remembered when I talked about it at the beginning of the episode. I was like, yo, I need to come back to that because I remember I forget some YouTube channel. They were the one that figured it out. It might be Dead End Hip Hop. If you're subscribed to those guys, they have a really good channel over there. So, but I think they were the ones that kind of decoded it or something like that. But yeah, so To Pimp a Butterfly is really kind of Tupac, but there's like a deeper message between the caterpillar and the.
Oh yeah, I mean, wow, that's actually damn.
So yeah. Anyway, so
let's
go ahead.
So look. So how are we grading this bad boy, man? First of all, is this classic?
Yes, it's classic.
Yes, this is classic. This is a classic album. Yes, it may be hard to listen to many numerous times, but objectively speaking, this is without a doubt a classic album.
Now, you could give this 2 ratings. Like you could give it the objective rating, and if you gave it an objective rating, I think I know we don't do 0.5s, so really it's 9.5. But I'll just give it a 10. I'll round up. Like if that's the objective rating, it's a 10. Like it's a classic album.
I'm giving it a 9.
You give it a 9. If I had to give it,
no, man, 9.5.
You don't do 0.5s, bro.
I don't care. 9.5, man.
No. Pick a number, man. Pick. Stop being a wuss.
9 because I can't because Illmatic is the only one that has to be a 10. My narrative must remain. Nothing must be the same as Illmatic.
I thought you might forget, but okay. But yeah, really, it's probably 9.5. But we don't do 0.5s because that's whack. So that's the objective rating. But if you had to give it, like you're looking at your catalog on your iTunes or you're on Spotify or whatever it is, Apple Music, if you had to give it just like an album to listen to, what would you give it? Like just as like what am I trying to ask? Like if you had to rank the enjoyment of listening to it, like out of 10, like is it a 10 out of 10? Like you enjoy listening to it?
Are we allowed to give 0.5s?
No.
Okay, for enjoyments, yeah, okay, I'll throw in an 8.
An 8? See, I'm at like a 6.
6?
Yeah,
but look, as I said, there are some very enjoyable songs on here that I like. That I'll really like. Boom. So or maybe okay. You know what? 7. I can't go lower than a 7. 7 for pure enjoyment. 7. I can't go lower than a 7.
And here's the thing,
bro, 6 is crazy.
No, but and this is the thing. We might have talked about this when we did Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor, or when we did Black on Both Sides by Most.
Sosa still has to pay for me having to listen to Black Arts flipping thing, man. Classic on my foot.
We're just asking the question here. It doesn't have to be classic necessarily, but I think we said, or at least I know I said, at least I think I said this, that I read books. I don't need my music to necessarily be over the top, like I'm going to a sociology class, like I need to learn, critical race theory and, fucking like the Joy DeGruy book or $40 Million Slaves. Like I've read pieces or complete books on, would-be blackness in that way. So I don't need my rapper to be like an Akala or not a Most Def, like an Akala, Immortal Technique, Low Key, like those kinds of like super duper political, I'm trying to kick a knowledge rap. Like I don't need that. Now I do have to have some level of intelligence, Like I need bars at the very least. But it's for me, I don't find it necessarily enjoyable for like rappers kicking knowledge to me because I'm just like, are you qualified to be telling me what you're telling me? So like, what books are you reading, Kendrick? Like, has Kendrick read books to where he's like knowledgeable enough to know what he's talking about? Because like, there's this one thing about how would you describe this? Once you step into the arena of you're trying to give people information and you're actually kicking knowledge to them, it can't just be, oh, this is how I feel, and this is all
no.
about.
You have to have some facts, some facts,
substance and something to back you up. So I would have to actually go look at like Kendrick Lamar interviews talking about the album and actually see if he's actually gone in depth about the subject matter that he's brought up. Like you come to the conclusion that America's racist. Okay. But what gives you the license to say that? Or are you in a place to elocute that with substantive evidence that you've backed up? It's not good enough just to say, this is how I feel, even if the feeling is based in accuracy or it's a legitimate feeling. Like you need more than that. So this is sometimes why I go with rappers. It's like Lupe and those kinds of rappers, Most Def, like cool. Like it's cool that you're socially aware and you're conscious in that way. You're would-be woke. This is a very woke album. This might even be like this might be the woke album like starter kit in a way. This is like
wait, you mean this one, Pimp or Butterfly?
Yeah, like 2015. If you were woke, like this is like, oh my goodness, like this is like, I don't know, this is like you're Illmatic or something like that. But I need more from you than just kicking knowledge. I need to know like what you're saying is rooted in reality and that you are doing the requisite research to be qualified to speak on what you're speaking about. So I like that at least. But
I think that's another even interesting conversation because it's like, you see, again, it goes back to the point that I make. We are in the musical medium. 100%, content is great. Be woke. Talk about different stuff and everything. And you know what? I really hate that word. And do you know the thing about that word? Woke actually comes from the Matrix, about waking up. Waking up to the truth and everything. So, but I don't know. I just hate that word woke. It's just very.
I mean, I understand it.
It's too cool for me.
I get it, but it's become rinsed.
No. But actually, wait, what was the point I was making? Yeah. So basically, my thing about it is that talk about your content and everything. It's all great. The music has to be good.
At the end of the
music
day,
has to be good. If all you're doing on an album is just talking about politics, social justice, and everything but the music is bad, I'm out. Sorry. Like, then just talk to me like on a pulpit in a political hall or something. But if I'm buying your CD, I'm listening to you on Spotify or thingy, I need you to do you know how funny it is? Even when I just said that when I buy a CD, I actually sound like an old man. People are say, "Hey, CD, wait, what the hell is a flipping CD?"
If you're born before like 1990 or 1990 and earlier, I'll include myself. Like we're old now, man.
Yeah. Before 1990, yeah, look, old man. No, but my thing about it is that the music has to be good.
Yeah.
If you just spend your time just talking about, oh no, this is real, I'm so real, but like the music is crap, I'm like, bruh. See, and the most effective way of getting your message across is by having it being done. It's good music, and you're not beating us over the head with your political statements. Because at the end of the day, as you said,
it's a bit,
yeah, but because you know who Michael Dyson is.
Michael Eric Dyson, yeah.
You see, you ain't this guy. He's dedicating with his life reading, researching. He
reaches into cool areas, though. I must admit, like.
Oh no, he does. No, but I just want to just throw a name out there. But yeah,
the perfect example is someone like Akala. Akala is very political, but when you listen to him speak, he has the requisite base of.
Bro, that guy has all the stuff.
Right. We've read his book. Like we know, like this guy knows what he's talking about. So where I believe when you talk in your raps that this is actually something I need to pay attention and listen to. Kendrick, we will get to Damn, and Damn helps explain in some ways to Pimp a Butterfly. But when we review Damn, I will come back to this moment and be like, do you remember when I said this? And you're going to be like, yeah. And then we're going to go.
Okay, basically,
go ahead.
All right, okay, look, man. On that note, man. Look, man. So, what's classic is back. You know, we will. Okay, just wait. Should we actually announce the next album that we're gonna do now? Oh, actually, no. Yeah. Comments below. Tell us what album you want us to break down next. Put it in the comment
section.
Yeah. In the comment section, put it below, and then we will discuss. So we will hopefully try and do this
every other week. Not every week, but at least 2 episodes in a month.
Yeah, so basically we'll try and do this every other week. So every other week we're trying to. So the next one we're trying to do in 2 weeks to 2 weeks time Thursday, man. So because it's hard for us to find our schedules. But look, man, Daniel, it's been swell.
As always,
no.
It always
no.
Do we really want to leave it up to the comments?
No. Hell no.
On that note, bro, we gotta go. Bro.
Yeah, no. All right, guys. Remember to like the vid. Remember to share the vid. Peace out.
Pick up everybody in the comments that was here with us.
No. Thank you for all the guys in the live chat, man. Thank you. Much love. Peace out.
Thanks. Peace.